Alright guys, we're here today bringing you a tier list for the Mythic Plus dungeons in Season 2 of Dragonflight. We are here with Noodle Gang. You guys know me, I'm our Death Knight. A little more background on Noodle Gang. A bunch of us have been playing together since about the end of BFA, with some new people coming in during Shadowlands, and it's been pretty consistent since then. Caleb, he's been our healer since Shadowlands. Mostly Resto Druid, some Preservation, but he's kind of played all healers, so... Jake plays Prot Paladin, that's it. He's been our tank for like a billion years. And Tyler plays a ton of characters, but mostly Warrior and Boomy recently has been his mains. As well as some DH past couple seasons, but like I said, he plays pretty much everything. So, I guess getting right into it, we'll jump right into the Bracken Hide. Who wants to go first on Bracken Hide? What are we thinking?
Started. Initially, I thought this thing was going to be a nightmare. Just with the brief introduction we had at the beginning of Dragonflight before Mythic Plus kicked off, I really thought it was going to be a nightmare going into it.
I think so did literally everyone. There was just so many mobs and so many things to kick and stop.
It was just so bad the start of the season, or start of the expansion.
We used to go left, and left is cursed.
Yeah.
I had left after first boss is so bad.
Yeah, before we knew the tech.
But like season 2, I think I think it's my favorite dungeon.
It's one of the easier keys for sure.
Definitely one of the easier ones, but also one of my favorite. Because like, I mean, like we were just saying, there's a bunch of different pathing you can do. I mean, everyone obviously does, for the most part, the same thing. But there's like a lot of different pulls you can do, and it can be like different, which is good, I guess. Because I mean, so I know some people hate linear dungeons. Some people like being able to pull different stuff, but you kind of have a lot of freedom here in regards to pulling.
For sure. I mean, I think my favorite thing is just the mob density in the first area. You can get a lot of percent really easily, and you can get away with some pretty decent pulls.
Also, big DPS, we like that.
Yeah. I will bring up the fact that as a strictly Prot Paladin player, the Z-axis issues in that dungeon with Bubble Taunt just put me through the roof sometimes.
But also, I was thinking about this, I think it might have the best boss diversity in this dungeon pool. You have pure single target boss, you have a 3-target cleave boss, you have like a kite some ads boss, and then you have last boss, which is like prio damage on one thing every couple seconds. So like, you have the full range of like boss profiles in this dungeon too.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I like any of the bosses.
I mean, that's true. I do like most of them though.
I mean,
like, Decatriarch puts me through the ringer every time because I'm pretty much stressed the whole time focusing on totems, but like, I do still kind of like the boss.
I would argue that the bosses are kind of bland.
Oh damn, he just threw my argument in the trash can.
I would agree with you that the diversity is there as far as types of fights, but I would say that the mechanics are kind of straightforward. Like, I don't go into that dungeon thinking like, oh fuck, you know, this boss is going to be an issue. It's, you know, first boss, fucking pop defensives, soak line,
hide behind the tank.
Yeah, I just feel like it's a very straightforward boss fight for each boss.
Yeah.
Second boss is get eaten, kill ads.
Where do you think of putting it? I would argue for A at least.
I mean, I was gonna say S.
The only reason I would argue to put it lower is because I feel like as you move further, like the last half of the dungeon for me is mega buns. Not the category, but the trash density falls off. You don't get percent for the mobs. You're pulling 1-pack, 2-pack.
That's true.
For me, it's between A and B, but you guys really like it, so
we'll call it A for now. Yeah, any other thoughts, Tyler? A.
I'm A.
Dang. All right.
The trash is okay. Or The mob density is the good part, I'd say, but like,
Until the very
redeeming
end, like
part,
you said, yeah.
yeah. Besides how bad the trash count is in the like between third and fourth is kind of
Yeah.
questionable. But put A.
Alright. Return of Freehold. I don't like it nearly as much as I liked it in BFA. Say that off the rip. I feel like they definitely scaled it up, and it hurts now.
I'd have to agree with you. Going into it,
Like, disregarding what happened last night and how much that 22 hurt, in general, it definitely hurts a lot more than it did in BFA.
My initial thoughts were like, I loved this dungeon in BFA. It was probably my favorite in BFA. And now it's kind of fallen off the pedestal for me.
We also usually run it at least double melee, which is just booty for third boss.
I mean, I was playing Druid last time, like I was just like kind of chilling.
He's vibing in the back on Druid.
Like I was sure of just that meme.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in that dungeon that sucks for melee, but you're kind of vibing. The Crushers suck for melee. Although you get
Crushers
pulled
are bad
in,
for
don't you?
everyone. If you pull the Crushers with the grip guys,
Yeah.
Death.
I like almost want to say third boss in general just ruins the dungeon for me. Like I just hate that third boss so much.
Baiting sharks, and you don't have to run out, but we have to run out for Sharknado, which sucks. But
it's just a terrible fight in general.
And if you die, oh wait, no, never mind. That's not boss. It's pre-boss where you can't run back in.
That's mini boss.
Yeah.
On mini boss, yeah. But still, that just feels bad.
Tortolan's pretty fun though.
You die on mini boss, you have to use a B-res unless you want to 4-man it.
Yeah.
And the timer's pretty tight too.
They did change the timers. The timer's a lot tighter, yeah.
How do you guys feel about the change to the RP event for second boss and the fact that second boss doesn't change between the 3 pirates anymore?
I don't. Did the RP event take a while before? I don't remember. It didn't. We just had to find something in that first trash pack right before the boss.
What did the other boss even do?
I don't remember. Because didn't we always just pick Eudora and this dude anyways?
Well, you didn't get to pick. It changed every week.
Oh.
So who don't you pick? You don't do what, Jolly, right?
So the RP events they used to have was either you had to drink a lot of beer to get your pirate hats, you had to take the key off the dog to get your pirate hats, or there was an extra ad that spawned, or a mob that spawned that you had to kill to get your pirate hats, depending on which week it was. And so the dog took some time because he ran to different trash packs and made you pull them. And then the extra mobs took a little bit because it was an extra pull. The beer one was free because you just talk to a guy, drink your beer, and then you get your hats.
Like, I guess it made it more of an interesting and changed it up every week.
It made the routes more diverse.
Yeah, that's true. But I do kind of like it more now.
I will say I miss it for nostalgia reasons, but it's making the dungeon run smoother. I'm glad they changed it.
Yeah, especially now that they closed the timer down tighter. Maybe if it was the same timer, it wouldn't matter as much, but it did take a little bit of time to do it.
So I like the fact that you can get away with some really big pulls in this dungeon.
On Tyrannical.
On Tyrannical, yeah. Fort it slaps, especially in higher keys, but...
Where do we want to slam it then? Are we thinking, like, B?
I'm thinking, like, low B, almost C.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Freehold.
I'd put it in B. I don't know if I would go as far as C.
I think it's definitely still one of the easier dungeons. But granted, likability-wise, I can see why you would say that.
Maybe because it's not the same as it used to be, it just it feels lackluster for me.
And this is Caleb's first time seeing it, so he has a totally different take on it than we do.
Yeah, I mean, I went into the season expecting it to be my favorite key, because, I mean, I've done the leveling version of Freehold and all that, and it was fun. So yeah. I thought this would be, like, my favorite dungeon, but it just didn't hit.
Okay.
I'm on the other side. I'm still thinking this is just a lot more fun, but I'm okay with B. I would have went more A, but I'll take B.
We have someone saying C, someone saying A, and 2 people saying B, so I guess we'll go B. Halls. Thoughts?
Mega buns.
Oh!
I
This man hates the frogs.
I have so many opinions on this dungeon, but I'd like to hear you guys' takes first.
mean,
Challenge good. Design kind of bad. Besides second, third. Frog's okay, but third boss good. Most of the mobs are fine. It's just the first area of trash kind of murders you no matter what you do.
True.
It's a very unpug friendly key, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that, yeah. Because a lot of times we're coming at it from a semi-coordinated group point of view, as opposed to a pug point of view.
I mean, I think I'm kind of biased towards this dungeon because it's got my favorite boss fight in the entire season right now. Third boss.
Which
boss
is
just
wild coming from a
a
healer.
lot of fun to heal. Well, I mean, it's not like an insane heal check. It's a fun one. Like
Okay.
sometimes I throw stupid mechanics at you that just feel real bad, but it's just like a constant like heal check, and it's fun to do.
Just a rot boss.
I
Yeah.
did not know that you like Frost Boss.
Frost boss is just fun. I mean, I like
Oh.
the dungeon.
Last hallway also, booty cheeks.
I think the middle of the dungeon is really good. The beginning and the end are kind of bad.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like the dragon pulls are
First
actually
boss
kind
is
of fun.
mid. Yeah.
I do kind of like the dragon pulls because there's a lot of ways you can get deep breath to go away. It's not just like they slam you with it and you die. So that's kind of cool.
Say that the trash density, great. Trash difficulty, especially obviously on fort, it slaps. I feel like first bun is just no fun. It feels like a very bland fight.
First boss,
Frog
you talking
boss. Yeah, first
about?
boss.
Oh, yeah.
Did
Frog
you say
boss
first
is-
bun?
I think you said first bond.
I'm thinking about mega buns. Frog boss is one of my favorites just because I love the idea of a giant frog. Like that just makes me happy inside. So I enjoy that fight.
A lot of bosses that eat stuff this season.
Yes, I like the gulp.
Being able to death grip dudes into gulp is also pog.
Looking at all those frogs just get gulped, that makes me happy. Ice boss, I just feel like no matter if it's Tyran or Fort, if we're on a hierarchy, like you're just fighting for your life the whole time.
It teaches you
And-
how to rotate your defenses pretty damn quick, though. At
For
least for
sure.
DPS wise. Which is where, when
For-
you do it with a pug, it's booty, because a lot of times pugs don't know how to rotate defenses.
Yeah, so that brings me to my last point. Like this dungeon is a pug killer, especially the last gauntlet before last boss, because running back just takes so much time. Like not having a checkpoint and just running back just takes forever.
Yeah, especially because like they do give you the skip, but even the skip, it takes forever to get back.
Yeah, I do like that they added a little movement speed increase, but you're wasting at least a couple minutes trying to run back if
Yep.
you wipe.
Any other thoughts before we place it somewhere?
It's
Good.
it's really cool visually.
Me and my homies hate first boss.
Yeah, I died way too many times last week on Tyrannical on that boss and pugs, so I'm a little tainted right now. Where are people putting it?
I mean, I guess I'll go first because nobody's gonna agree with me, but low A.
Oh, I like it. Out of nowhere. Jake, you're pulling mega buns, right?
I'll compromise and go C because
Big diversity here.
we've had runs that went really smooth. Like when it went smooth, it's fine, but there's just so many things that can go wrong, and when things do go wrong, the key's bricked at that point.
Tyler, thoughts?
I think I would, as annoying as getting constantly laser beamed is in the first area, I think I would also go A.
Oh,
But I'm just a dungeon enjoyer, I think. But I think I would go A. As frustrating as, I mean, just from because I have tanked these and I have DPS these. I think from both standpoints, it's still like an engaging dungeon. It still feels like you can make an impact, like kind of whatever you're doing. I think I would put it A. Just definitely some faults or some issues with it.
I'm leaning high B.
I'd be okay with the B.
Jake, thoughts on it above or below Freehold?
I agree with everything Tyler just said. Like, it is an engaging dungeon. You are constantly, keeping an eye on what you're doing, planning what you're going to do, planning pulls, planning defensives, who has buttons where. But for me, it's just the fact that one mistake can easily brick the entire key just because of the run back, just because of the gauntlet, just because of
ass.
Yeah,
the checkpoint is butt. Yeah.
The difficulty checks at certain points just feel like it.
Do we put it below Freehold or above Freehold?
I think it's above Freehold, but
yeah, I'd put on the same. I'd say same, so I'd put above.
All right, I'll just leave it right there for now then. Return of Notharians from Legion, which Jake was a gigapog for at the beginning of the season. I didn't play that much of it in Legion, so I didn't remember it a lot, but I remembered a little bit of it. But on Tyrannical, it's booty. The bosses slap.
I mean, you guys remember week 1, the dungeon was untouchable.
Yeah.
Like, you could not finish a key on week
Like, if you
1.
don't have more than one dispel, like, third boss is still an absolute roller coaster, which we usually don't have more than one dispel, so, or depoison, whatever. Cleanse. Words are hard. I don't know, like, because, like, for the most part, the trash is forgettable, except for the scorpions at the end. All I think about when I see this dungeon is how hard the bosses hit.
I would say pelters and the avalanche guys.
Pelters too.
Like that. Those are my biggest. When I think of this dungeon, I'm like, oh, when we get to those pelters, somebody's dying.
Both the pelters and the scorpion is just like a literal chain gun that you can't stop, which feels kind of bad. Like, there's nothing you can do; they just rail you. You can't stun them or anything. I guess if there was some counterplay, it would make it feel a little better. But yeah, it does feel really bad when you get to those packs.
I might be an outlier. I like this dungeon a lot.
You're definitely an outlier.
Yeah, this dungeon is some fucking trash. Like, it's almost Mega Buns category.
I think it's hard, but I like the challenge. Halls of Infusion, hard, but incredibly punishing when you mess up and easily brick the key. Neltharian's Lair, rewarding because it's challenging. Checkpoints are decent. And it's not, first boss is definitely a wall on Tyran. You get past first boss on Tyran, you're pretty much golden till Worm.
No, third boss wrecks you on Tyran too.
Like, I feel like there's nothing fun in that dungeon. Like, the most fun thing in that dungeon is riding down the river in a barrel.
I literally knew you were going to say that, and I've never heard you say that before, but I knew you were going to say it once you started talking.
Like, first boss is you're just killing ads the whole time. Second boss, you're doing nothing. Like, I mean, that fight is kind of super sleeper.
Second boss, you need a healer.
I don't want to get started on third boss, and then fourth boss is just don't move the boss. Like,
fourth boss is kind of cool because you can do some fun positioning things. / stunning the dude makes him take more damage, so like it's a little engaging. But
positioning is key in that fight. You position correctly, and that fight's easy.
Which I give it a little bit. I give the fight a little bit of kudos because you can do stuff like that on it. But I'm very, very down bad on this dungeon as well. Like, there's so many things that are just. I mean, we already talked about it. There's things you just can't counterplay, which feels bad.
I'm C at best.
I'm a good C gamer.
I would also agree
Jake, you're thinking like A, right?
It might be because I'm nostalgic. I played this dungeon a lot in Legion. It was one of my favorite dungeons in Legion, so I was leaning high B.
It might have to end in C. We have a lot pulling it down right now.
I accepted it has a lot of issues, so I'm okay with C, but I do like this dungeon. I feel like it's rewarding for the challenge.
All right. Caleb, was this your lock for Mega Buns?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh wait, no, I know you're locked for Mega Buns. Never mind.
I hate
We
that
might agree on
dungeon,
that
but
one.
there's one that I cannot stand.
All right. Neltharis next. New dungeon.
Coolest looking dungeon of season 2.
Oh,
I was
Kid
gonna
likes
say-
the lava.
In terms of like boss design, I think it has the coolest bosses.
Yeah, I'm trying. I had to think of bosses for a second, but yeah, I would agree with that. They're all very different and unique, which is cool.
I think the chains thing is pretty lame, like very lame.
I think we do have some controversial chains.
I think playing the key as a key and not as how many things can you kill with a chain is more fun, or well, brings it down because you can just cheese it. Boss wise, I'm okay with it, but trash wise, I don't enjoy that.
See, I'm the opposite because I think it's cool because it gives the dungeons some diversity, I guess.
Yeah, it puts a Shadowlands tweak on it almost, but it's the only dungeon that gives you a clear advantage with just
True.
that.
Well, the timer is so tight. I mean, you're kind of at a disadvantage if you don't take advantage of the chain tech.
Which I guess, I mean, they designed it like that because they want you to do it, but
yeah.
I feel
I
like
think it's a bad design choice.
the chains would be cooler if it didn't insta kill the packs. Like if you have all people do the chains, like you can huge full and insta kill a whole pack. It's kind of lame.
I mean, I kind of like it.
It's good for the key, but like in terms of actually playing, like all I did was click a chain and kill everything.
You're just running and then everything's dying. You're not playing.
From a tank standpoint,
you kite for a minute and then stuff's dead and you didn't do anything.
Like if they would have made the chains like they take like a percentage more damage, like even then it'd be more interactive and more fun.
True.
But it just kills.
That would be pretty. That would be cool.
I see that. Like I said, I like it because it like adds flavor to the dungeon, but like Tyler said, you do just blow everything up and it's kind of lame.
I mean, from a tank's perspective, like trying to pull literally as much as you can in an entire wing of a dungeon, and then just seeing if you can live while your group lines up all their chains to kill it. Like that's fun for me. That's fun.
True. Yeah.
When I'm able to pop defensives and face tank, 20 mobs, and then they all die.
Yeah. Valid. I guess that's good for trash. That's pretty much it for trash in that dungeon.
Yeah, Caleb's right. Like every boss is unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, running it back to bosses. The bosses are fun. They're hard.
Not fun to play.
I still have some issues with last boss just because the throw yourself into melee and blow up one sucks, and the RNG is kind of booty, but
no, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
I know it's still there. I died to it yesterday, but I thought they were getting rid of that one.
Yeah, I mean, like Jake said, you can just pick up another gold to replace it, but then if everybody has to do that, you're screwed because then someone's not going to have one or something. And so when 3 people get it, it's booty. The RNG sucks. That's my only complaint. Is kind of last boss. The first 2 bosses I do thoroughly enjoy. Like third boss,
I'm fine with the first 3.
Third boss, I actually enjoy a lot because it is just rotating your defenses on Might of the Forge, which is fun. Like it basically forces you to learn like how to rotate your defensives effectively. Because if you don't pop a defensive on Might of the Forge and High Tyrannical, you die.
Like in terms, like Elephant Boss is like a slightly more annoying version of the Hull. For Caleb's sake, for the Hull's boss, it's definitely you have worse uptime because of how much kiting can happen if you don't play it right.
Yeah, but as melee, it's another booty boss.
Like I'm okay in game, like playing the bosses with every boss except first boss. From a healer perspective, the heal check on it, especially Tyrannical, is absurd sometimes.
It's
like
pain.
Once he gets going on the, I forget the cast name, but once he gets more tentacles and it gets more damage, like it becomes unbearable sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun dungeon. Like I enjoy being in there.
Second boss, if they fix the thing where if someone dies, they lose a chain, that'd be great. Because like if someone dies during the chains, you just wipe.
Oh,
If
thank
they
you.
fix
Actually,
that second boss would be really fun. But that's the
you just
only issue with
reminded
that
me.
boss. Besides that, it's a great boss.
The only thing for this dungeon that really pisses me off is the bugs. I have seen second boss bug out more times than any other bug in this season.
What, the chains?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then
The first set of
the
trash with the frontals.
the frontal bug, the volcanic
Yeah,
guard
yeah.
bug, where he 180s and just randomly throws on people. Like that's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But
Even with how
other
much I
than
said I
that,
hate last boss, I still have this, for me at least, high B.
I have it at S.
Oh, okay. I
I
would agree with
love
that.
this dungeon.
I would go A easily.
Oof.
I
Oh.
would never
I'd
put
put it-
this
I'd go
dungeon
B.
above Brackenhead.
I wouldn't put it above Brackenhide, no.
If anything, like I would put, top B, but like never would it be above Brackenhead.
I would put it after. I'd put it between Freeholds and Halls at the
Damn.
best.
Tyler, big freehold truther. Because I was gonna say low A,
listen to
high
me.
B. Because I like it more than I like freehold or halls, but again, personal preference. Jake's up here. I'm like here. Boom. Caleb, where are you?
I mean, either
It's high B or
the
low A,
first,
right?
high B
Yeah.
or low A. I'm kind of in between. I'd
Do
be
we
fine
put
with
it there
either.
then?
We could compromise on a low A.
Yeah, put it low A
Yeah,
Okay.
low A is fine.
with Mr. S tier over here.
I
Mr.
love
True
being in that
enjoyer.
dungeon. Aesthetically, it's so pleasing to me.
Alright, Oldemon. New dungeon. Long dungeon. Super long. Only reason I don't like it is because it's so long, but besides that, I'll let you guys go.
I'd like to hear Caleb's thoughts from a healer
I-
perspective on this place.
I have no thoughts, head empty. I hate this place. I hate everything about this place. I used to hate first boss. First boss is alright now. Bromach,
Which one? Dwarves or Bromach?
dwarves. The dwarves used to suck. Bromach also used to Omega suck, but I mean they've nerfed him. I still don't like the fight, but third boss is
Good night.
if you run out of defenses on third boss, I mean you might as well just like put down your keyboard and mouse. Like it's over, you're dead. That dot on 20 tyrannical or higher, I don't know, good luck, have fun. Fire boss, I mean, it either goes two ways. You get owned or you kill the boss insanely quick. And then last boss is just it's a lot of pain like at all times. You get the time sinks on 3 people when the knockback happens, and it's a lot of damage all at once.
Yep.
And then don't get me started on the infinite time or the time reavers. I hate that is my most hated mob in the game.
Damn. It hates the time reavers. I mean, I have even less thoughts than Caleb's head empty because I don't have any thoughts about this dungeon. It just exists for me. I don't like it. I don't hate it. If I get the key, I'm like, oh, okay, it's Oldemon. I'm gonna be in there for an hour. See ya.
I think on 4 it's fine. It's a fine key on 4. I'd say it's pretty good on 4, but Tyran, you can't make a single mistake on Tyran. Obviously, that's the case for everything. But this one feels a little bit more harsh, and especially fourth boss where you can't see flames and then all of a sudden you're dead.
Oh, yeah, they gotta fix the graphics
the
on
things
them.
that are either just bugs with the lines or just the circles that just swarm and murder you when
Yep.
you have another circle under you.
Yeah, they do need to fix the visuals on that boss. That would help a lot.
Ground is a terrible color for fire.
I agree with Tyler. I think this dungeon is fine. Fourth boss on Tyran, he just has too many swirlies and floaty orby thingies and bad visuals, and beams bug out half the time, and that's just not a fun fight on Tyran. Like, I love the dwarves. I think they're fun. I think they're comical. When they decreased the size of their fire on the ground, made the fight basically into a joke. Like there's no reason why anyone would ever wipe on dwarves anymore.
Yeah.
That is the one good thing in that dungeon. The dwarf dialogue.
Yeah, they're great. Like it makes it fun, but I don't think it makes up for how bland visually the place is. Like you're just looking at sand
And
and
like
rock
all of the
whole
trash is
time.
forgettable except for the infinite time reavers.
You can get some decently sized poles. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
you can get some pretty big
It's
poles,
it's a it's a good.
but
it is a
trash
big number dungeon.
there's
Not the biggest
also a
Bracken I had,
couple.
but it's good.
Yeah.
No, there's also a couple places where like I think it's before third boss when they have just a defender at the top of the stairs and a defender at the bottom of the stairs, and those are the only mobs in that hallway. Like that's just why do we doing those two
Oh
pole
yeah,
boss?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that just feels bad. And then there's an infinite time reaver, and then the two time mobs that cast haste, and I forget the names.
Yeah.
It's a room, and they're the only three in there. Like that feels bad for me. So overall, like this dungeon is not up there for me.
Not a certified banger. Where are we putting it?
If you would have asked me like the first couple weeks, I would have said no doubt about it, Mega Buns. But I think it beats Neltharian's Lair. I think it's high C.
Tyler?
I have it somewhere in B. Below Freehold, either before or after Halls.
Jake?
I'd put it in C below Neltharians.
Below Neltharion.
Oof.
Oh,
Well, remember I like Neltharians.
that's true. I'll swing the vote and say above Neltharians. Because, like I said, I don't have many thoughts on this dungeon, but I do enjoy it more than I do enjoy Neltharians. So
Will say I'm glad
we had
that
this.
I'm
What were you
glad
gonna say?
for Blizzard revamping old dungeons. Like instead of them just taking an older dungeon and making it Mythic Plus, like they completely revamped a classic dungeon like Oldemon.
Yeah.
And turned it into a modern Mythic Plus dungeon. Like I like that. I'm glad that they're doing stuff like that, making old content relevant again. Like
Mhm.
that's cool to me.
Alright,
But yeah, this dungeon is just forgettable for me.
we'll leave it there for now. Because I do think it's a tier above Neltharians. And so does everyone else except Jake. Let it be known Jake wants this banger. Alright, Underrot. Come back from BFA. I mean, they really put the two favorite BFA dungeons in the one season, which was kind of surprising to me, but should I go first? I guess I'll go first. I haven't gone first in a minute. I think I definitely like it. It's the same with Freehold. I don't like it as much as I did in BFA. Actually, no, I think I liked Freehold the most in BFA. But I like Underrot a lot more than I like Freehold now. I don't know why. It's like very linear. Like there's no like pull diversity or anything. And like maybe I don't. What do you guys think?
Banger.
Banger? Okay.
This place holds up, like for sure.
Like, I don't have anything bad about this to say about the dungeon. I don't know what it is.
Depressing looking, I think.
I guess it's the depressing. I guess it's the depressing vibe it gives off. But I don't know. I don't have that much fun in the dungeon, but like I don't hate it. So good dungeon.
I like depressing vibe. Like
I'm okay with giving it banger tier. Because I do, like, whenever I see an Underrot key, I'm like, hell yeah. I don't say that when I see a Freehold.
It's like a personal responsibility key. Everyone kind of has to do their shit in terms. Obviously, that's every key, but like, there's healing checks. There's not really DPS checks. I guess if you want to count like Kragma needs to die now.
I'd say Kragma is like the only like DPS.
It's a healing and DPS check.
There's also like a lot of kick checks.
but
It's like
we
the
don't
only
really have
kick
an
heavy
issue with
dungeon.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. There's no really kick heavy dungeons right now.
I guess you have to be careful about your comp. I mean, if you take a full caster comp with 45-second kicks, you're going to be in trouble. But I mean, I like kick heavy dungeons. It makes me feel useful.
It's like the only one in the pool too. Brackenhide a little bit.
Yeah.
This
Are we-
place hits all the wickets for me.
Like easily high A, right?
I'd go S.
I'd put it. It's definitely the best. A to S. I don't know if that matters, but it's definitely the best. I think. Brackenhide's close.
Yeah,
I know how much you guys like the dungeon, but I would put it below Brackenhide. But I mean, S is still fine.
Yeah,
It's challenging, but it's not unforgiving. The timer is very forgiving. Bosses are fun and engaging. Trash is engaging. Assigning prio kicks, it just hits everything I want in a dungeon.
The backtracking is kind of bad.
Yeah,
That'd be my issue, I guess. Is the backtracking is kind of annoying.
for me, it's not that deep because I feel like it doesn't take away from the timer. Maybe like a couple seconds, just because you have to run back on but you can mount inside like that. That makes it okay for me personally.
We keep it S. Thoughts?
Okay.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the blood troll vibe.
All right, Vortex.
Can we just skip this one?
Mega
Yeah,
buns.
I mean, like, come on, just put in Omega Buns.
It's Mega
like,
Buns.
No one will argue with you. We don't have to talk about it.
There's
Everyone
nothing good in
knows.
this dungeon.
The
Cloud Guard at the start.
trash pulls don't get good until the third to last pull of the dungeon.
I don't think they get good at any point.
I agree with Tyler. I do like those last pulls.
Everything around like the shock triangle things I
Look-
like, and that's as far as I like in that dungeon.
The grounding field, like that's a fun mechanic for trash.
And
Like I like
there's
that.
good things you got to kick there. There's positioning stuff.
The first 80% of the dungeon though is terrible.
Absolute booty.
First boss bad, second boss bad.
Trash
Why do, like-
bad. Pulling
Why
three
do the
mobs.
stars nearly one-shot you
Oh,
when you walk into those packs?
Caleb, I want you to know that in my notes I put in massive bold letters, floaty orbs bad.
You want to know what is bad in this dungeon? Second boss.
I don't know
There's
why they
not a
block off
good-
80% of the room.
There is not a good redeeming trait about that boss. It is
no.
just, I hate it. Everything about it.
I don't think it would be as bad if that room wasn't like 2 feet wide.
It is really
And-
tight. Yeah.
I feel like the wind swaps. Like, you get like 10 seconds of standing still, and then you're like, oh, you got to move again.
It's definitely the worst healer boss just because you can't cast in the air. You have to make your whole build surrounding that boss, or that boss
And you
is
have to-
not
Yeah.
getting healed.
You have to prioritize running upwind over anything else.
Well, jumping over that thing is kind of the priority, but
Why can you
Yeah, but-
mount in Underrot, but not in Vortex Pinnacle?
Hasn't that been the argument since the beginning of the season? Makes no sense.
my second biggest gripe, besides second boss, is Pug's unbind spacebar on last boss. Jump
I've
does
had
not
that
exist on
issues-
last boss.
I haven't had that issue since the first time I ever did that dungeon.
I've had it so many times.
I continue to see people not be able to
But
jump.
like, oh,
just
spacebar? That
talking
doesn't
personally.
exist.
Personally, I haven't had the issue. I've seen it. There's no
Ace
there's no
Mastery
need
Neck
for
doesn't drop.
that giant. Like just the balls before last boss too. Let alone the first balls are probably the worst. But I don't know why they come back.
Yeah. Yeah, like the only good thing about this dungeon is that those last couple trash pulls.
Fun for me.
There's nothing else I don't like. There's nothing else I like, I mean.
Floaty orbs that do nothing but shoot at you, and it's just nothing engaging about it.
They
That's
give
not
like no
fun.
percent.
Yeah.
Big fucking shield mobs that there's only 2 of them, and you have to pull 2 of them, otherwise it turns into a slog because all of them have shields up. Like that's no fun.
But they
Yeah.
called
And
the
then they
first-
cast a giant AoE underneath them, so melee can't hit them.
Yep.
Yeah, the first pull or 2 if you combine it or don't is my least favorite pull probably in the whole season.
Having 3 of those guards together is the worst thing in the entire world. I'm just like, alright, I'm a Howling Blast main now. All right. Do we like the final list?
Yeah, I'm
Halls
okay
is
with
probably
it.
the only question mark, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
still think Hall should be above Freehold, but I mean that's like my only gripe.
I was thinking Halls lower, but I think I'm fine with Halls there. But that is probably the biggest question mark spot.
I'm kind of fine with where it is, yeah. Looking at the ones below it, I'm okay with it.
I might put Alderman above it.
Really?
Like I said, Oldemon just doesn't exist for me. It's just kind of there, so I don't really care.
My
I mean-
biggest issue with Alderman is the fire boss. I don't mind the dungeon otherwise.
For me, it's just bland. It's just not like Alderman is boring for me.
You're just not immersed in the dungeon.
No,
Big immersion guy.
a big part of dungeons for me is aesthetically, do I like them? And then underneath that priority would be difficulty and engage mechanics and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think I like it. Brackenhide's the biggest surprise. I think I like Brackenhide the most. I almost like it more than Underrot, which is a hot take, but Brackenhide bangs. All right, any last thoughts?
If you skip Stink Breath, Brackenhide's the best.
That's true. Stink Breath does suck.
That guy existing is just.
I love Brackenhide up until after third boss. After third boss is when you lose me.
I don't. Third boss is the only thing I don't like. Like other than Stink Breath, I think third boss is the only other thing I don't like.
All right, cool.
It hurts.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.